This life is just a game. Every person in the world has the opportunity to choose their level of difficulty, right? We can either play to thrive in this game of life, or we can work to survive in this game of life. I know which one I would choose. So if you're interested in finding out how to play and thrive in this game of life, stick around and I'll show you the shortcut I had discovered, which has saved me years of endless struggle. If you're a human, you would have had this question pop up in your mind at least once in your lifetime. What is my true life purpose? I've always had this in the back of my mind. Why are we here and what is my true life purpose? After endless seeking, I stumbled upon a game-changing shortcut, which has saved me endless years of struggle. So before I share this shortcut, I would like to provide some context which will help you understand how this shortcut works. I would like to talk about energy. And first, we need to understand that our entire existence, everything in the world is made up of energy. From the stars to the galaxy to the universe, down to this pen, and us as human beings, we are all made up of this energy first. Nothing more, nothing less. It's just energy. It's just potential energy that we are. We are light beings vibrating light energy. So knowing this, I would like to just point out the law of conservation. The law of conservation states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. So that means that energy can become light, heat, movement, or sound, right? But the total amount of energy to create these things stay the same. No matter what it shifts into, the energy level stays balanced. So having this understanding that everything is energy, everything can shift into different things, but the energy stays balanced. Knowing this concept, I would like to just point out on this diagram, we are all from the one, everything you see in the universe, we all come from that one source consciousness, one source energy. You might have heard that we are all one connected. Everything in the universe is all connected. So you could call it source, God, mind, universe, prana, life force, consciousness, energy, unity, or oneness, right? So whatever you want to call it, we all come from this one energy. And then if you look at this line here, we descend as spiritual beings into this physical realm. So this line here represents the veil of higher consciousness. And above this line, it is the non-physical realm. It's the spiritual realm. When we are here in this physical reality, we experience reality with our five senses. As a human being, we are all human beings. We have touch, sight, hearing, smell, and taste. This is how we experience reality in this physical realm, right? Our physical avatar is an extension of the one source consciousness, one source energy. However, when we come down and descend into this physical realm, we can only experience reality from our five senses. So, knowing that, we also have a sixth sense, and the sixth sense is able to access your higher consciousness, a higher consciousness which connects you outside of this dimension. You are able to experience the non-physical. And the sixth sense is actually allowing us to connect to our higher dimensional self, because we are higher dimensional beings, multi-dimensional beings. We exist on many different dimensions. And our extrasensory perception, our clairvoyance, premonition, intuition, all of this stuff is feeling based. It's feeling, it's energy first, you feel it. The mind is just intellect, it cannot comprehend it. So connecting the mind, body, and soul, we are able to connect to our higher version of ourselves. So knowing that, let's have a look at money. Money equals freedom. We have been deeply conditioned as human beings that money is what we need to be happy and free. But that's far from the truth. The reality is the most valuable currency is your time and energy, right? So how do you control this? Well, you need to look at what we give our attention and intention into things is where our energy flows, right? So in turn, that thing grows. So whatever we're giving our attention and our energy, that thing we are growing in exchange for your time and energy. So we have two options here. The first option, which we most likely do and we're programmed to do, is externally invest our time and energy on the outside, right? Just quickly note that this circle is your energy field and this person is you and this is your energy field. So this is your time, this is your energy. And if you are following option one, which is externally investing in things, in material assets, consumerism, habits, a job, a car, holidays, media, whatever, you're now depositing your time and energy into external things. So these things are out of your control. You've deposited all this time and energy on the outside and they can be taken away from you at any time because it's out of your control. However, there's an option two. Option two is to self-invest. When you self-invest in yourself, you turn your energy and time into investing and building yourself, creating self-value. Because once you build the self-value within yourself and unlock your native gifts, because we all come here with native gifts and abilities. So it's about finding them and unlocking them. So once you unlock them, you create your self-worth. And then from there, your self-worth equals freedom. And then money just becomes a byproduct. It's just a bond to exchange your services and products of your native gifts. So understanding this concept, we must understand that the only investment that can actually pay off is investing in yourself, because it can't be taken away from you. Everything that you've invested in building your self-value, no one can take it away from you because it's inside of you. So the shortcut, I hear you ask. The shortcut is, let's have a look at this diagram here. You are here and this is your current potential. This is your game map for the next 10 years. So you're playing up and down these levels. And then this is the 10-year mark, right? Again, I told you that we are part of the one energy. We come from the God source energy, but we have this intermittent connection to this God source energy, but it's untapped potential because the intermittent connection to ourself is heavily blocked by our conditioning and programming and our education and what we've been conditioned to believe, right? So the ego mind is always trying to block us and not listen to this source connection that lives in every single one of us. So knowing this, and from the previous slide discussing investing in yourself, the best way you can do is follow this shortcut. The shortcut is to co-play with a life master. A life master that is connected to the God source. The life master that is already playing on their highest level from the source, right? They've already mastered everything. So they can help you get to your highest potential. They can help you get to unlocking your native gifts and abilities. So instead of going through the motions of 10 years here, when you co-play with a life master, they can help you and give you a rope and the ladder, and then you can start playing on your highest level. And that is the shortcut. Investing in yourself, saving you many, many years of endless struggle. So right now, I am co-playing with a life master. So in this video, I would like to share with you guys my experience and my journey through taking this shortcut. For the past 1 year, I have been a 7-star student of a life master, Maya 7 stars. She has mastered all 7 stars health, wealth, love, joy, peace, freedom, and purpose. She has mastered all 7, and she offers this transfer of skills over to students that are willing to invest in themselves in a one-on-one energy container. Now, you're probably wondering, what the heck is an energy container? I had the same thing, right? I was at the beginning, I was like, what is it? What does it even mean? How does it even work? And how can it benefit me? Hopefully in this video, I can share with you my experience and insights to answer all 3 of these questions. So before we begin, I would like to just share with you the timeline of events. So first, I would like to speak about 2015. In 2015, I hit my rock bottom. I had deep anxiety and panic attacks. I was driving on my own and I just had this massive panic attack. And when that panic attack happened, that was my lowest point. I was literally traumatized from that event. And I stopped driving for almost 3 years. I allowed my wife to take me everywhere. She drove me, she was my chauffeur. But that feeling and that anxiety and the panic attack, I never actually recovered from. Moving on to 2016 to 2019 now, I joined the corporate world. I stopped being a personal trainer and I moved into the corporate world and I started working in IT. And in the corporate world, I was introduced into the drink culture, which basically invited me to fall into alcoholism, right? With alcoholism, I used to drink so much to just bury all of this suppressed trauma from that panic attack and probably from trauma from the past, right? And then March 2019, I had my first awakening. I put down the alcohol, I stopped consuming it, and my energy started to shift. I started awakening, right? And then my self-awareness started to awaken, and then my consciousness. So it was a whole new thing for me as I put the alcohol down. And then 2021, I had a second awakening. I realized that this life is just a game. We're just here to play. So I adopted the game of life mindset protocol, and I saw every day as a new level, every day as a new opportunity, every day as a lesson to grow and level up, right? I stopped playing the victim in my life and I understood that all of my actions were leading forward in my life. So I had to take responsibility of myself. And then, because all the traps are made for awakened people, right? And then 2022, November, I fell into this trap of the apocalyptic timelines. I was like stuck in this apocalyptic world. And I saw no way out. February 2023, I came across Maya's YouTube video and she spoke about the upside down universe, that everything on the outside world is just flipped and we've been taught the wrong things. Like the truth can be found on the 180 degrees. So everything we've been told and taught, the truth is on the other side. And this video just popped me out of this time loop of this trap. And then April 2023, I left my corporate job with plans to go into property development. I just wanted a career change. But that didn't happen either, because August 2023, I began my healing journey. It just unfolded. I joined Maya's healing group and met a group of beautiful souls all working on themselves. And then come October 2023, I decided to work with Maya in a 40-day container. And I had massive breakthroughs. We unlocked deep childhood traumas. And I found my true self for the first time. And then January 2024, I thought this is my time. I'm going to fully invest in myself, because the property development stuff, again, that's externally investing. I was like, no, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to build and unlock my true native gifts. So 2024, I started this 1-year container to start deleting and unprogramming all this conditioning that I've been built up over the years. So today I'll share my personal perspective on my insights and how I saw this container work for me and share my experience. I would also like to highlight that one of the gifts that we unlocked during this process is the ability to recognize patterns and understand complex ideas, and I'm able to break them down into a way that people can understand, which has given birth to my YouTube channel, my TikTok, and my Instagram. So, why Maya 7 Stars and not just a regular life coach? So, Maya 7 Stars is not just a life coach, she's a life mentor, right? Maya has a unique approach with spiritual coaching, counseling, and progressive lifestyle change, right? Her unique approach is to use our life data, our life examples, everything that has happened in our past and everything that is happening in the current moment, we use to decode our life. Yeah, we decode and see what is hindering us from playing our highest potential. So we must look at past data, we must look at the current data for our future to progress to the highest level. Once we master our lives, life begins to flow with ease. Her approach is a hand-holding approach. She's more deeply involved. We are connected, energetically holding in this energy container. She's unscheduled, right? We don't have a catch up here, a catch up there, one-on-one blocking, all of this stuff. It's an unscheduled approach, very different. We work on energy and flow. Everything happens at the right time, in the right moment, and nothing is forced, right? Because everything is energy first. So, how does the energy container work? Well, the energy container works in establishing a connection. To establish a connection is based off a universal law of giving and receiving. And the law states that a principle that the universe operates in a continuous flow of energy exchange. Every interaction involves a giving and receiving, right? To maintain balance and connectivity throughout the whole universe, this law exists for the universe to actually exist as a whole. So that means that you cannot receive something for nothing or vice versa. This would violate the law. So based on that principle, an energy container is based upon an energy bond, right? So now, knowing this universal law, let's say that this is Maya and this is her energy field. Her energy field is here and this is me, this is my energy field. We are both got our energy, right? And to make this energy container work and to establish a connection based off the universal law of giving and receiving, we must create a bond to give and receive. Maya has value to provide and receive. I have value to receive and provide, right? It's a giving and exchanging. And how does Maya's value get transferred over to me? It's through an energy bond, right? We can either trade value for value, which can be in a form of money, services, or a product. If I have something of service, a product, then that bond can be created, right? And the greater the bond, the more value can be exchanged based upon the universal law. So Maya cannot give more than what the bond has been created with. So it has to be equal for the energy to flow. And at the same time, she is providing me value. She's getting me to the highest timeline and my highest potential. And I am also providing her value with my life data and my insights. So it's a fair energy exchange. So now looking at the actual energy container a little bit deeper, this is my perspective on how I saw everything working and how my perspective was on how it was flowing, right? So again, if you look at this circle, this energy field is Maya. She has exchanged her time, energy, and money into investing into herself. She has spent 22 years investing in herself with value of products, people, and services to self-invest and create her self-value. In that time, she was able to master her life and unlock the 7 stars lifestyle, which is health, wealth, love, joy, peace, freedom, and purpose, right? And at the same time, her gifts were unlocked and her self-value was created. And then she has wisdom and experience to share with others, right? Her ego, her programming, her conditioning is healed. She has no agenda or narrative. She is connected to the God source directly and is led by God. she is in service to others. So when you connect to your highest potential and you heal this ego mind, you don't have agendas or narratives, because that's just conditioning. You live from your divine center and you get led by source energy. You allow the source energy to run through you. And that's your highest potential. That's your highest timeline. That's your native gifts. And that's how you can operate in playing and thriving in this world. Now let's look at what my energy field looks like. In my energy field, I have an unhealed ego. My unhealed ego has programming. It's been conditioned. My mind has been conditioned. The ego is just this physical form, this mind, this body, right? And we have a lot of programs. We have a lot of habits, patterns, and behaviors. Our life data is what drives us. But without healing this ego and our programs and our habits and our patterns, or what we've been conditioned to, we cannot tap into our highest potential and our native gifts, right? So the process of transmuting this life data, the more data I share with Maya, the more could be transmuted and the more gets uncovered and comes to the surface. And as we're connected in this energy container, the things that needed to come up in my life were just popping up. And we're just dealing with it as and when, and the more was getting transmuted, right? So knowing this is my energy field, I had energy leaking. My energy is leaking to the outside because I had expectations from others. I people pleased, right? I had overcommitments. I didn't have any set boundaries. And then your external energy is invested on the outside. So it's in a job. You have a job, you have an income, you take holidays, you have habits, you overwork, you have food, you have alcohol, you have shopping. All your energy is going on the outside and you're spending all of that time on the outside. And again, when I mentioned earlier, my idea was to go into property development before I started working with Maya. And that was coming from a program of, that's a good business to make money. But again, that's an external investment. Now working with Maya, we are self-investing. I am investing in myself. I'm creating self-value. I'm here to unlock my gifts and skills, my native gifts. I'm here to master my own life, right? Through my experiences and my wisdom. So this is what the energy container is doing on an energetic level, and then on this physical level to decondition the mind and body and process emotions, trapped emotions. So just to point out that Maya has connected to source. She's living on her highest timeline, and we all have this connection to source inside of us. But when we are stretched and leaking on the outside, we do not invest in ourselves. We just externally leak our energy. So creating this self-investment for yourself, you have to pull back all of this external leaking energy and give it to invest in yourself. So a lot of this stuff had to be shut off to bring it into investing in myself. This intermittent connection to God's source, we have it as well. We all have it. She's holding on the energetic level at the highest level. So when we're going through the healing process, it's basically to strengthen this connection to source. And then you can live in your highest potential, in your highest version of yourself. How did the one-on-one energy container work? Well, we know that we're energetically connected 24/7. We are bonded through the energy bond, and we're providing and giving value. So whatever needs to come up comes up to the surface, and we're dealing with it on and on. So we check in daily with voice notes and messages. Maya works with the flow of energy. She is led by source, right? So nothing is forced and everything is unscheduled, right? We just work with the flow. So many times she gets the feeling of, she can't respond to my messages, she can't hear the messages because she's not allowed to. And I experienced this many times. I was like, why didn't she reply back to my message? And then later we discover why she weren't allowed to open my messages or reply, because I was going through a difficult transmutation of something. And if she had got involved at that particular time, I wouldn't have got my lesson. So there's a thing for everything, and the more and more you work with energy and you learn to trust the energy, this makes more sense, right? Everything unfolded at the right time. I got everything I needed to hear at the right time and everything I needed to do right? I've gained such a valuable skill in working in this energy container. I'm able to read energy and trust and flow with the energy, right? Because everything is energy first. We need to use our intuition to tap into this energy. When you use your intuition, you can gauge where to go. So my experience in the 40-day container, right? So this is the energy field again. This is God's source. This is your core self. We're all connected to this one source energy, and we're here to strengthen it and find it again, right? So when we come into this world, we are most connected to this source energy, right? And this is my inner child. This is me, Binny, as a little one. And this inner child, from the ages of 0 to 7, we're in imagination, we're creating and we're trying to understand the world. So through this process, we absorb emotions and traumas because we don't know how to fully process and understand what is actually going on, right? So we create a folder called inner child. We create a folder called emotional trauma, right? So imagine these as all folders, right? And as you get older, you hit 7 years old, your ego is created. This physical identity, I am Bindesh, this is me. These are my programs, habits, beliefs, habits, and this is my worldview. This is how I see the world, right? So from 0 to 7, we're most connected to source. And as we move up to 7 and onwards, we become the adult. Our ego takes over through this program of folders, right? So as this is a collection of our life data, Maya shot me the question. She goes, what are your fears? Like, what is blocking you? I had to write it down, self-inquiry, right? And what came up for me was a fear frequency. Fear of not being seen, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being heard. Full fear frequency, right? Fear of being judged. So as we found this frequency that was playing under, we had to find out what was the root cause. And we had the biggest breakthrough on day 18, which was trauma 1. Trauma 1 was an event when my grandmother passed away, right? I was very close with my grandmother, and when she passed away, I felt lost. I felt fully disconnected. I didn't know how to process that emotion, right? I didn't know I had this locked inside of me though. So I had an unprocessed emotion stuck in me for 28 years, right? So uncovering that emotion of trauma, we had to go heal this. So what did I do in the healing process? I basically loaded up a photo of myself from that funeral day. I was able to connect to my inner child, Binny. I looked at him, and as I connected to him, I was crying for over 30 minutes. It was just a rush of emotions. I was literally crying. And this was such a liberating feeling. As all of this was coming out, I instantly felt like a massive shift in my body. I felt lighter. I felt like a massive weight had been lifted. So this was a massive block that I had been carrying for 28 years. And then we had 2 traumas. That was the biggest ones. There was a lot of other stuff that got transmuted in this 40-day container. But the 2 that stick out is, before I started this 40-day container, I had a one-on-one high frequency healing session with Maya to clear ancestral trauma, clear blockages. And it took 10 days for my physical body to catch up, because everything is done on the energetic level, and then the physical body is the last thing to catch up. And one of the things that popped out in this one-on-one, 1 hour, 2 hour session was, why are you holding Shiva as prisoner? And I had no idea. I didn't know what that meant. My ego mind was trying to make sense of it. So I did the regular thing and just tried to Google stuff and just trying to make sense of it. And then I just gave my mind what it wanted to hear, but it wasn't truly resonating, or I just wasn't sure of what that was all about, right? So then, as we was in this 40-day container, day 35, Maya goes, this fear frequency, there's still something there, go have a look at it. So again, self-inquiry, I went in, and during the meditation process, day 36, I had an insight of a shivling, A picture, an image came down, I drew it out, didn't think anything of it. Then day 37, the next day, boom, I get a memory that was locked inside of me from when I was 7. I was in India. We went to go do my grandma's ashes. And as we was on the way to scatter the ashes in the Ganges, we headed to a temple, went down into a cave, and there was a shivling there. And I can't remember who told me. The person said to me that when this center part goes down, the world is going to end. So as a 7-year-old, hearing that, I was traumatized. I literally took that on as a belief, and I believed that the world is going to end one day. So I remember coming home, and we had one of these shivlings in one of the cupboards, and I would used to see it and see if it actually goes down or not. And I was like constantly. And then over time, I forgot. I buried that memory. So I had been carrying this end of world trauma in me for 27 years. So 27 years, and at that time, I disconnected my spiritual connection at 7 years old because this trauma was so traumatic that I didn't know how to process it. So funny, as we talk about end of world, when I found Maya on YouTube, I was on an end of world timeline. I was literally absorbed into these apocalyptic scenarios, right? So this is all connected, future, past, present, everything I feel like is all connected. So that was the 40-day container. And then the 1-year energy container, which is still going on right now, was to break the programming and conditioning, right? So we had healed a lot of the childhood traumas and the blocks. And in this one, it was just to peel back more layers and get to the root of all this conditioning. So taking this 1-year container on, the goal was to deprogram, right? I had self-sabotaging mind. I was an overthinker. I had controlling issues. I force and push, and I was very serious. All of these things I wanted to overcome, right? I invested in myself. I give myself this 1 whole year to invest in myself and give it the best shot that I can, right? And our goal was to help me build courage, confidence, consistency, and focus, right? So this is what we've been working on this year together, building all these things, because I've never had any of these things. I've always struggled with all of these, and this is what I attribute to have and unlock my highest version of myself, the highest potential of myself, right? And in this one, we also had a massive breakthrough. We've had a lot of things come up and a lot of things have been transmuted to bring the things that I wanted to build into myself. Day 71. Day 71, the controlling program got unlocked, right? Things unfolded just before that. Things were popping up. Maya said, go check what happened to you in 2014. So I was self-reflecting. I found a lot of things, and things were popping up saying I had massive control issues around that time. I had a lot of trauma, a lot of stuff that happened. And then day 71, it came in. And it was basically a unhealed trauma from my granddad. The controlling issue came from an unhealed event which my granddad experienced back in Africa. He had a business with a business partner for 5 years. And after 5 years, that business partner ran off with all the money. So my granddad had this trauma inside of him. And he, from that day, stopped trusting anyone, and he wanted to control everything. So this was a frequency that he had taken on in his body. And traumas are installed in our DNA. So knowing that fact, my granddad had transferred this controlling issue over to my dad through the DNA. And then my dad has transferred it over to me. So this is how we transfer unhealed traumas from generation to generation to generation if we don't heal ourselves. And this is why healing is so important, right? So I always knew about this story of what happened to my granddad, but I've never actually saw it in this perspective of I'm living what he experienced still. This was a massive breakthrough to find out where this controlling issue actually came from, because the controlling issue was actually controlling my life. And I'm so happy that it's been uncovered and I'm able to start picking back and start peeling it away. So my 1 year container is almost complete now. And I would love to say a massive thank you to my mentor, Maya, for giving me this opportunity, for giving me this shortcut. Words cannot truly describe the feeling and appreciation and gratitude of how much this has helped me on all levels. Like how I feel today, the person I stand here today. My wife can testify as well. She's like, you're a different person. I don't know who you are. She's like, oh, I married someone else. With Maya's unwavering support, guidance, and she goes above and beyond. She literally is the happiness teacher, right? And another thing that I got transferred from my granddad was seriousness. As a kid, he's programmed the seriousness into me. I was always a happy child, and Maya has helped me tap into this happiness again, right? Maya, she literally breathes truth in everything she speaks and teaches, right? And I also love to say a big thank you to the Healing Pond family for their unwavering support and guidance and love and being part of my healing journey. I love them all so much. I thank Maya for bringing us all together, and I love you all. Thank you. And finally, to wrap this up, in honouring my late grandmother, Vimlaben Dayabe Patel, I've adopted her name in my new identity, Bindesh Vimla. May her legacy shine bright through my actions. She was truly the most loving, kind-hearted person I've ever known. I love you, Ba, always. Thank you.